Sweet Christmas.
Shout out to my birds.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Che,
This is Cory.
and this is the Next Time On podcast. And today we're having a conversation about episode 4 of Hawkeye.
3 and 4.
3 and 4 of Hawkeye, the Disney Plus hit Christmas show. I think it's the first ever real, genuine Christmas content from the MCU.
Well,
Iron Man 3 is in
yeah.
Christmas, but that's because Shane Black is
obsessed with Christmas.
he has a weird obsession with Christmas.
I like it, but I think Iron Man 3 could have actually been a solid Christmas movie. It didn't come out in May.
Yeah,
And it just kind of just fucked up that it was out in May, honestly.
Yeah, it's weird because Marvel they do have a holiday movie pretty much every year. I'm surprised there isn't a genuine Christmas movie yet. But this is our first real. I mean, we had a scene where we drove through a tree farm or whatever they're called.
Yep. I think I think you're right. It's like Christmas tree lot or whatever.
Yeah. Well, before we get down to that full conversation, the points of business, as always, please go follow us at Next Time On Pod on all your social media platforms. You can also rate us, because it really helps us out, 5 stars on all your podcast platforms. We are everywhere. Share us with your friends and family, and your enemies too. Just tell everybody about us. And
Yeah, I think The Enemies is probably the best one,
yes.
honestly.
Yeah. I don't think it hasn't come out yet. By the time you're listening to this, it probably will be live. But our last podcast was an hour and a half, most of which was us losing our mind over Brian Michael Bendis' demise as a writer. So,
Makes me sad because we're about to talk about a lot of his characters that he invented.
Yeah, and last but not
one.
least, go check out the website nexttimeon.net and go check out the YouTube. This video is this podcast is live as a video as well. And you can see all that stuff in the links below. But let's get down to it, Cory. Let's talk about this, the most recent in a long line of just genuinely really great Disney shows.
It's honestly, I'm loving the Hawkeye ride so much so far. I think it's probably the most fun I've had with
You said it's
these
your favorite
shows.
one, right?
I think it might be my favorite one. I think WandaVision might be the best one. But I think this might be my favorite one. And I mean, when I'm saying that, I don't really put Loki nor Captain Falcon very far behind it.
Still love that you just call it Captain Falcon.
It's just easy. It's easy for my brain to process. Captain Falcon and the White Wolf.
For me, I think when it's all said and done, Hawkeye could easily take the crown because I've loved these first 4 episodes. For me, it's still Loki number 1.
I get that. Loki was really good. I thought the last episode of Loki was fantastic.
I also think the thing that Loki has over the other ones is just Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston's
it's not fair.
fucking great.
He's just kind of cheating on it.
Yeah.
Owen Wilson's really good in it too. But yes, Tom Hiddleston is pure on cheating. Once again, guys, I apologize for the background noise. I live in New York and it sucks.
Well, now I live near a train, so there's definitely going to be one episode where you guys hear a massive CSX train go by my window. So
I mean, hopefully I can move soon, guys. My apartment's literally falling apart, so that's just life in the Big Apple.
They literally cut the lights off on you.
Ooh, it's been a fun ride for me. But yeah, no, Hawkeye episode 3. Just a fun episode. This is the episode where Clint and Kate get captured by the Russian tracksuit mafia, and
once
they
again
escape.
a lot of references just straight from the comic book, which I love.
Just straight up.
More of that is always good.
I think if you had the bro drinking game, you would be passed out already very, very far. That's a fun drinking game you should not play. But also our official introduction to Echo, I think actually was created by Brian Michael Bendis. Pulling that off the top of my head, I'm probably wrong. But
I don't know of anything before that, but let me do a quick. I'm just gonna.
But basically, her origin in the comic books, she was the daughter of an associate of Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. Because Kingpin's an asshole, he got the father killed. And he raised Echo until Echo realized that he was a bad guy. She then met Daredevil, and as all women and men do in comic books, they slept together, blah, blah, blah. Then she became Ronin in the comics, the first Ronin. And then, Clint actually gets the Ronin costume from her. Huh, I didn't even think about that. That must be the reason she's in the show.
Yeah, well, I think the origin story must be different, right? Because then there wouldn't be this. She wouldn't be trying to figure out who Ronan
Oh,
is.
absolutely not. No, I think you're right. I think the origin is different, but I guess what I'm saying is I'm assuming they included her because of her tie into Ronan in the comics.
Yeah. Also,
And
apparently,
yes.
Echo's first appearance was in Daredevil number 9 in 1999, written by, and I'm embarrassed to say I have no idea who this writer is, Glenn Herdling.
Damn. I'm honestly not familiar with him either. I think I was reading that Daredevil run. I just didn't even process his name. But she was better used by Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah,
At least the
I think
story
there's a
that,
difference between who invents somebody and who brings them to popularity.
and
Although,
there are some very good comics. With,
Wikipedia
Echo.
credits David Mack and Joe Quesada as the creators of Echo. So either way,
Oh, okay. Joe.
not a
Q.
character I think a lot of people will have been familiar with before this
Yeah.
this appearance, and I'm still very interested to see what her show looks like, because I think it's been confirmed that we're getting an Echo show.
Yeah, and
on
that,
Disney Plus.
and I'm wondering that as well because I think it's interesting. I mean, they do this. I mean, Disney shows do this all the time. I mean, comic books do this all the time, where they'll introduce a character as the bad guy, and the bad guy eventually gets their own series and becomes a good guy. I mean, Wolverine was like one of the
Kind of
biggest
our introduction to Black Panther. Sort of.
Black
He's
Panther,
not a bad
yeah.
guy, but he's the antagonist of
Exactly.
war in a way.
I mean, yeah, no, I think that's kind of. I mean, that's what comic books do. It's kind of just how like the name of the game works. But I mean, right now she's fucking the Phoenix, like X-Men the Phoenix, and comics are dumb.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's fucking. It makes no sense at all. But I think it was one of those things where
The Phoenix is still Jean Grey.
no, the Phoenix is Echo. Jean Grey's just once again regular Jean
sorry.
Grey.
I thought when you said she was fucking the Phoenix.
Oh no,
I
she
thought
wasn't
you
having
meant-
sex with. No. That's Wolverine and Cyclops.
That's what I thought.
They have not changed that weird
I've been
menage
very
a
open on
trois
this podcast. I have bailed
relationship.
on X-Men. I just can't keep up.
God, I love X-Men.
Too
Every
many
time I go
X-Men
back
books.
into it, I fucking love it. I think the secret about X-Men is you got to read them like in the arcs. You can't read them week by week. I think you got to read
that's
them.
the secret. The secret
That's
is
the
doing a
secret.
bunch of LSD.
Hey, listen. So that's enough about Echo's background. But in this version of her origins, she's actually a lot more tied to the Tracksuit Mafia, which she was not in the comics. I think she was just under Wilson Fisk, who
Well,
I
it
guess
does seem like this version of the Tracksuit Mafia is also tied to Wilson Fisk.
Yeah, I
You get
mean,
the
like,
origin
there's-
story with Echo's father, who was the boss of this same gang, I guess, or
Yeah.
subset of the Tracksuit Mafia, and he clearly works for Wilson Fisk in the cold open that we get to start this episode. Or I guess
Yeah,
that's
and I
episode
was,
4, isn't it?
And that was episode 3, the hint at it, because I was asking Che if he saw episode 3 like 20 different times, because I'm like, I think this was Kingpin.
Listen,
I'm not sure, but I think this is Kingpin. And then they put out the I guess it's probably a good time to talk about this as well.
Kevin Feige basically
Feige.
confirmed that
Yeah.
Daredevil
Charlie
is
Cox.
returning.
Yeah, at least like only thing he said so far was Charlie Cox, who played Daredevil in the Netflix show, is returning to the MCU.
I'm very excited for you, Corey. I
Yes,
know
I'm
you're
very
pretty
excited for
nervous.
me as well.
I'm excited for the possibility that this means we might get Luke Cage back too.
I don't think any of them are off the table except for Iron Fist. We should all forget about Iron Fist. Iron Fist
But
has
hold
never
on.
happened.
If I love Mike Coulter, he's
Yeah.
easily my favorite of the. Actually, it's not true. I really loved Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones. It's just that show let her down. So
Yes, after
massively.
the first season,
after the
yeah.
first season. But Mike Coulter was so good. I would love not if he has to come along for the ride, so be it. But I would really love to see Jessica Henwick back in the MCU. She's the she plays Colleen Wing in the Iron Fist series.
That would be an interesting way just to forget about.
just bring her back. Fuck everybody else from that show.
Yeah, I 100% with that. Like that's the only way to probably bring that character into the MCU because goddamn was the actor. I forgot his fucking
Finn
name.
Jones. I don't
Finn
actually know if
Jones.
Finn Jones was bad. I have like with shows like that, I don't know if it's Finn Jones' fault or the fact that the show is written so terribly. Because sometimes you just get a script that is impossible to act your way out of. And I'm not saying that Finn Jones was
I can't believe I
good.
watched 2 seasons of that show. I watched 2 fucking seasons of that show. What is wrong with me?
But remember we said he was not. I mean, I think the only evidence to support that maybe Finn Jones would have been a decent Iron Fist is that he's not bad in the Defenders. I think the Defenders is actually pretty good.
him and Mike Coulter had really good chemistry.
Yeah.
Just like really like, and it made me really want for them just to spin off into a Heroes for Hire show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could have stood Danny, like his hippie white boy self trying to hang out with Luke Cage in Harlem. I think that was a very good idea. It's funny.
Although not to sort of dissuade that idea, have you been watching Evil? Because everyone has chemistry with Mike Coulter.
Yeah,
literally
that's true.
every person that comes on screen in that show.
I've never
it's
seen a
they
character
definitely
who's
wanna
like
fuck Mike Coulter.
Yeah, it's like this character who's like he's not supposed to have sex and everybody wants to have sex with him. And the whole weird lead up with the mom and the main character in the first season, I'm like, oh, she's married. Weird. They were kind of insinuating that her and Mike Coulter were like gonna have sex.
I think they really regret writing a husband character into the show because he's basically not a character.
He's so gonna die. He's so gonna die at some point.
Like he's climbing like Mount Kilimanjaro and shit. He's gonna be easy to kill off.
Exactly. He got killed by a demon mountain or some shit. But
Although I kind of want her to stay married because I'm really looking forward to the.
Jay, we're getting off topic.
Plot where Mike Coulter has sex with Asif Manvi.
Jay, we're getting off topic.
All right, you want to run down the quick synopsis of 3 and 4 for the people really quick? For
Oh, sure, yeah. So we got so Clint and Kate get captured by the Tracksuit Mafia, led by Echo. Through some fun shenanigans, Clint and Kate escape. While we get the myriad of they pretty much just copy that scene from the Matt Fraction book where they don't take the Challenger or the Charge. I can't remember what kind of muscle car it was.
I love the reference though. Where
it's the same car.
I will not be destroying a Challenger today. It's
then
great.
it still happened. And it still happened.
Still, yeah. That's the great. I just think like there's a couple rules to like comedy writing that it may seem really hacky, but they're tried and true. The like callback never fails, and to be like still Challenger still got totaled is a great beat to end that scene.
Especially because Jeremy Renner is just such a I think it works well because it's like the same type of humor from the Hawkeye comic, but Jeremy Renner is a very different character than comic Hawkeye, where he's like a lot more just deadpan and less of like a fuck up.
Yeah.
I just think they're doing a good job of referencing the books while making it like still work. But I
think the smartest move is to get to like when with comic book stuff like this where you have such a devoted fan base that is basically obsessed with this stuff. I mean, we are Exhibit A and B, but you like nobody wants to see a 1-for-1 recreation of the thing they loved on screen because you're never going to be able to get it right.
Yeah.
Shout out to recently canceled Cowboy Bebop live action.
Did it get canceled?
It just got canceled today. If you reference enough to like show that you have some fealty and some admiration for the source material and then create your own thing, that's all people want. And the fact that this is just enough like Matt Fraction's Hawkeye that it's clear the writers have read it and understand what's good about it, but also its own thing in a way. I mean, Kate Bishop is essentially not really a character in the first 2-3 volumes of the Hawkeye book.
No, in the Matt Fraction one?
Matt Fraction one, yeah.
No, she's like from the beginning.
I thought she wasn't in the first. She's not. I don't think she was in like the first 5 issues, unless I'm missing.
I think she was. I'm mostly positive that she was. I think the Hawkeye series was when she started becoming like more of a popular thing.
Yeah, I know. I knew by the end she was like a big thing, but I must be misremembering. But I thought she wasn't like nearly as important in the opening scene. But sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going with the.
No, it's okay. But I mean, like pretty much we have a fantastic chase sequence when we get all those fun trick arrows, which I ended with, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed the Ant-Man arrow or the Pym particle arrow. I just didn't expect it, and I'm like, this is the right amount of silly this is what I'm about. Kate definitely killed some guys. Yeah, that shot.
She blew up a car with 3 people in it, and we don't see like I kept assuming they would like show the guys crawling out of the flaming car to be like, it's Marvel, we didn't murder everybody, but those guys are dead.
Yeah, they're dead. I am very I'm also really happy they kind of just dropped the whole Kate having to deal with a police plot line. I was really not looking forward to having that dealing with that scene.
I think it's gonna. I think it has to. Come back.
It has to come back. They would have cut it if it didn't. But yeah. But like then after all this, it was like this is mostly just a chase sequence.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what this episode was, and I thought it really worked well. It was just a really fun thing to do. And then we end up going back to Kate's mother's apartment penthouse. It's not. I hate calling it an apartment. That shit's a fucking house.
It's a mansion on top.
It's
of
a mansion. It's a mansion on top of a building.
It's a mansion on a building.
In order to hack into her mother's very, very illegal software. Just want to put that out there. There's some you shouldn't be able to look up someone's phone number and find where they are. That's bad.
Yeah,
they blaze over that invasion of privacy very quickly.
It's one step removed from the Batman. I turned all of your phones into spy devices.
That seems wild. As a kid, that's cool. As an adult, that's horrifying.
Well, at the time, we were still sort of entering the fear, basically the surveillance era, where everyone was terrified that the FBI was staring at their cameras. And their
Enemy
laptops.
of the State was trying to warn y'all, and no one listened.
Have you watched Enemy of the State recently?
Does it hold up? Please tell me it does.
No, the movie is still really good. Will Smith's great in it, but the technology is batshit crazy.
It's batshit, but I think it's batshit in a way, but it's the things that were this is crazy then, but some of the things they were doing, oh, I guess they can do that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There's just, I remember specifically, I rewatched it a couple months ago. There's a scene where he's in a Victoria's Secret or something, basically like a retail shop, and they use the camera, they hack into the cameras of the retail shop, and then they X-ray into her bag.
Yeah, no, okay. You're right. That's pretty insane.
But yeah, so I think these last episodes have been a lot of fun. I think the first 2 episodes really gave us an introduction to Kate's character, which was great, and I'm glad the world is finally being introduced to Haley Stanfield. I know I've been touting the merits of Bumblebee for the last few years.
I think that was the one fan cast you got right, Che. You were like, she usually, they should really make her, and I'm like, oh, they just actually announced that today.
Yeah,
you weirdly kind of brought that into the universe for yourself.
Well, no.
I'm happy for
Let
you.
me be very clear.
Mm-hmm.
I called Brie Larson Captain Marvel a year in advance, and I want credit for that to the day I die.
Fine, I'm sorry. That was a better one. You're right. I forgot about that one. You're right. Good job. Good for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Corey. You never say anything nice to me on this podcast.
No, I mean, sometimes I do. I don't fucking know. Sometimes I do. I don't think we called anybody. I don't think we called anything else. All right, but I mean, that's pretty much episode 3 ends with Clint being the Ronin sword to his throat by obviously not bad guy. Whatever the fuck his name is, I don't remember. I swear to God, he walked off the set of What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes.
I swear to God, I swear to God, he was just walked into the wrong lot, and he was just playing the vampire role still. I don't know that other actor's name off the top of my head, but he's very.
I probably should have looked it up. I don't remember either.
No, not the actor's name. I'm talking about the actor's name from What We Do in the Shadows.
I also don't remember any of their names. I should. I genuinely love that show.
I know. You watch a lot more than I did.
I just remember it's one of the few shows where I know the characters' names, but not the actors' names.
But you know who I'm talking about, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And then episode 4 picks up immediately after that. They have the most awkward sit-down meal ever, where a mother asks why an Avenger's hanging out with their daughter. Very clearly, I think it's kind of insinuating more and more that the mom is definitely evil.
Well, I was with you, and I still think she will just also because the character is evil in the comic books. But obviously, we could easily get a switch on that in the story. I mean, we've already said this is not a direct translation of the book to the screen. But
that's true.
Until I was this seems like a real tip of the hat to that she's evil. Until we get the conversation right as he's entering the elevator, and she makes a fair point. She's like, although it's very fucked up to say to somebody your friend was a super spy and she died.
Insane to say. Fucking sane to say to somebody.
But I mean, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
This is not a not dangerous business. She's already been shot at. She's been at this point she hasn't been in a car chase yet, but we will see pretty soon she'll be in a car chase.
Well, no, the car chase scene happened before this. Remember? She was that happened. That she's definitely.
And this will not be the last dangerous thing she's involved in because she's gotten in partnership with. Now, although they're not partners, as Clint will tell you, but she's gotten in some sort of partnership with an Avenger. So,
but I think the only reason I'm refuting that against you is because at the very end she's like, "Are you going to drop this case?" Which is a weird thing to ask.
Yeah.
I think that was the more weird part. I mean, I think she really could have gotten away with please stop bringing my daughter into it, and that would have been weird. But I think the last, "Are you going to drop this case?"
Yeah. Especially because we get a confirmation that her fiance, her
Yeah,
very clearly evil fiance, is very
in-
clearly evil.
I'm wondering if he's just going to be like a fucking like stooge though, and just has no idea because he's kind of stupid, and I can't tell if that's intentional or not.
Yeah, I think he's playing the buffoon more than actually the buffoon.
It's like up with his weird idiom. I don't know, whatever. Like that, they finally pointed it out. I'm like, okay, fine. Like this has been weird.
I love the line where Kate says, "I tried to stab him in the face and he parried it expertly." And Clint goes, "You tried to stab your father-in-law in the face?"
That's very fair. But yeah, I mean, like other than this, we got a very like wholesome episode between Kate and Clint, and honestly, just did a really good job of establishing both of their characters.
Yeah,
I
love the
both
scene
room to
where
breathe.
she shows up to his house with pizza.
Yeah.
Although when you think about it a little bit more, she's chosen to spend her holidays with a man she met 3 days ago. Although, admittedly, has been obsessed with when she was a child, but then abandoned her mother.
Well, her mother's kind of abandoning her.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's kind of the whole like the weird like was he like singing to her and they were dancing in the living room? I'm like, I would leave this fucking place too, honestly. Like this is weird. Y'all are about to have sex and I don't want to be in the room with y'all. Like
I mean, he's supposed to be creepy, but the father-in-law, I don't know what to call him, the future father-in-law, whatever, is very disturbing. Jack makes me uncomfortable essentially every time he's on screen, no matter what he's doing. And that's, I guess, a shout out to Tony Dalton, who's just been great as this. Although maybe he should tone it down a little bit. I don't know if it's supposed to be this obvious that he is clearly the villain of the show.
It's like that's what I'm wondering too. Like I'm wondering who like the end up. Because I mean, I wonder if we're gonna do like what we did with Loki and have the last episode be like, oh, it was actually this guy kind of situation.
Kang the whole time.
I think it was. Yes, that's the ending. Each Marvel show needs to end with just Kang being the bad.
Kang. What a minor thing for Kang. Although we don't actually know what this Rolex is. This Rolex might be a big fucking deal.
It seems like, well, I think the way that it was phrasing it, he said it was going to blow someone's cover.
Yeah, but I don't. Whose cover could that be?
I don't know.
Because as we talked about, I guess not on the podcast when you were here for the holidays, we talked about how actually weirdly, and I didn't really even think about this. No Marvel characters have secret identities.
Yeah.
In the MCU.
And I think that's a very big indicator on like who is this? Like, I think we're gonna get a reveal in the last episode, but I'm wondering who that ends up being.
I think the only person I thought it might be is Florence Pugh, but then we see her fighting them.
Yeah,
so
she's like
clear. He's clearly not trying to protect her.
Very yes, and she's on her murder mission. And like I was for my mind was like Daredevil, but I'm like Daredevil can't see Corey. Why would he need a watch?
I think blind people still wear watches, right? I shouldn't have said that. I have no idea.
I don't know.
You know what? There's probably. I think there actually is like a Braille watch.
That's true. That could be. It looked like a regular old Rolex.
Yeah, no, I think it was just a regular Rolex.
Just a regular Rolex.
But then, why would that be at the Avengers compound? Why
that's
would
true.
you
That's
care
another
that
question.
Much about? It seems. Yeah.
It's I'm wondering what is gonna the payoff is gonna be. But at the same time, I mean that would, in a weird way, I mean that would kind of tie into the whole.
It would be
thing.
It would be a great way to introduce him. But then he said, did he say her? He definitely said her, right?
I don't know. I gotta rewatch it.
I think he said it will burn her. So I don't think it's Daredevil.
So there's another, yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll be like, oh, that's who it is. But I don't really think it's gonna be someone we've seen before.
Unless this is an introduction to a new character. I mean, we've gotten a lot.
I think it might be
so far in this. We already got Kate Bishop, who's clearly going to be the future of the Hawkeye character going forward in the MCU. We've got Echo, who's going to get her own show. We're getting
apparently taking notes on Barton's family like a psychopath.
Creepy as fuck.
That's not great.
Yeah. We're getting a reintroduction of Wilson Fisk and Daredevil into the MCU. That seems imminent in this show, at least. So I think this is the show that seems to be doing a lot of the work that we kept assuming the previous Disney Plus shows were going to be doing, like bringing in a bunch of characters and doing a bunch of development. Because obviously now we're getting back into the swing of big movies coming. I mean,
yeah.
This will be episode 6 will be the last one before Spider-Man drops, or just episode 5?
No, I think episode 5 will be the last one, and I don't think that's unintentional.
No.
I think there's definitely something that's going to come out of No Way Home, which will definitely lead into Tom Hardy being in the last episode of Hawkeye. That's definitely what's going to happen. Venom's going to show up, baby, and we're in it. We're in it. Then fucking what's his name? Jared Leto's going to show up as Morbius.
Don't do that. Don't talk about Jared Leto.
Who's making a Morbius movie? Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, Sony is grasping at straws because they have no more Spider-Man products left, so they need to make a Morbius movie with an actor that I actually was surprised does not have a 0% approval rating. There are people who still like Jared Leto.
He's a creeper, and he sent Viola Davis a rat.
Even all that, he's just not
that
good of an actor.
Yeah, he's not a good actor. I might have murdered that motherfucker. He's really riding off that Oscar nom for a long time. I think he might have won, actually.
Yeah, he won for Dallas Buyers Club.
I think he's been pretty much riding that one since whenever.
I mean, shout out to Lady Gaga, who I never really thought was like a great actor, and then acts circles around Jared Leto in House of Gucci. He's so fucking bad. I cannot stand that guy.
What a weird role to pick him for, honestly.
I think Ridley Scott really likes him.
Yeah, I don't know why. But basically after that, Kate and Clint end up going to, unbeknownst to them, Echo's apartment to find the watch. Throughout some really great help from his wife, who's
I still
like,
understand how they didn't know it was her apartment. That seems like bad detective work on their part.
His wife kind of let that note out, apparently. Also, I guess Clint's wife was a SHIELD agent or something, because she kind of fluently just dropped into another language and kind of kept the conversation rolling real quick.
It was Russian, right?
I think it might have been German. It was something random. It was either Russian or German. I don't speak either. But yeah, so I guess you can do that.
I kind of like that we're getting more of an introduction to her character, because I love Linda Cardinelli, but it's a bit of a bummer that I don't think she's like, this is the end of her character. I would imagine when we're done. I don't think it's so much of a spoiler or even like that hot of a take to be like, this is going to be the end of Clint in the MCU. I think after the show is over,
so too.
We're not going to see him again, so I don't know why we would see her character anymore.
No,
so
I think that's it. Yeah,
some interesting details about her as she's exiting is very annoying.
I do like it though, like where you're just kind of like these little bits of being like, oh, this is why she knows everything. This is why Clint probably married her and met her. This is a little shit like that. We don't really get all the answers to, but I kind of do like I like it when shows and things do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But seriously, great wife. Just honestly, probably the best superhero wife or relationship I've ever seen. In
in the MCU, it's there's like her and then Tony and
she's dead.
Pepper Potts.
He's dead.
At the time.
Yeah.
Those are kind of our only two, right?
That's true. I wasn't talking about comic books in general, but you are very right about that. Because you always get the whole like, you're doing this too much, and it's like, whatever.
Well, superhero wives, and kind of wives in all media directed toward men for a very long time, were all the like quintessential sports movie wife, like Adrian from Rocky, where they're just like ruining everyone's fun. That's the only reason they're in these stories, was to like be a wet blanket. And it was such a terrible trope that I'm glad we're finally getting out of. And I love the supportive wife character. Although maybe she should be a little, I know she's like, he's got to save the world and everything, but maybe be like, get on your husband a little bit to get home for Christmas.
It's like, just.
Although again, this role like seems very important, because she was very
important enough to like kind of like there. Yeah, I think there's something going on, and I'm sure we're gonna get the episode 5 and 6.
10 episodes of this season.
6. We got 2 more left. I know, so low. Because we definitely have to see Kate Bishop and Black Widow interact now. We're just gonna call her second Black Widow. I don't really know what the easiest way to call her. Elena. Let's just say Elena, but she's gonna be.
Yeah, she'll be.
I mean, that character had the same name in the comic books as being the second Black Widow, so I don't think that's unintentional.
Although as of right now, she is still evil adjacent. She works for Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yep, that's just the thing that's happening.
I never remember.
I don't. She's not a character in the comic books. I don't think. I think her name was like Val. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, you're right. She was with Hydra adjacent. That's right. Yeah. I forgot about that. That's right. Still like a random character though. It's like not somebody who's like prominent at all.
Great fucking casting though.
Yeah, just like I'm
Valentina
like, oh, you got her.
Allegra de Fontaine.
I can't think of like a more like not like a polar opposite, but like a definitely very different than Samuel L. Jackson's introduction at the end of Iron Man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was supposed to be at the end of Black Widow. It was supposed to be our first time seeing her.
It's so weird. I kind of wish they had just stuck to I know everything got thrown out of whack, and they needed to pay people, and I understand you gotta make some money, because you can't fold if you're Disney. But I just kind of wish they'd stuck to the original release schedule, because I'll never be able to really flip around everything in my head to remember like when I first saw people and stuff.
Yeah, I think the only one that really did stand out though was like I think the only one's going to be really effective is the Black Widow and Captain Falcon switch, which honestly didn't really detract from one or the other. But I think it would have been a better like, what the fuck is she doing here?
Right.
Oh, she's about to go after Hawkeye. There's a lot more at stake than her recruiting bootleg Captain America.
Poor U.S. agent. All he wanted to do was be a super soldier for his country.
And then he killed a guy with a shield.
We all hated him.
He fucking. It's funny like how much like everybody like just hated the guy just immediately. That was good. That's good casting and good writing. Just having somebody who's like not a bad guy, but he's just like, get out of here.
Well,
with your
a lot of it
black
is a parallel
sidekick.
to the MCU in itself. It's like, who's this white man who's not Chris Evans trying to
Exactly.
trying
Like,
to
how
the
fucking
American
dare
hero
you?
to be, yeah.
How dare you stand where he stood?
And I like Wyatt Russell. Like that's the worst part. I really
He's
like
good.
Wyatt
Nah,
Russell.
he's good at it. He's good at it. I mean, I'm glad that he's sticking around and he's sticking around the MCU post this, but
I do love the MCU, although we have lost some of our favorites. I mean,
we're gaining some good ones.
it will soon be the case that like essentially everyone has either been in the MCU or is currently in the MCU. It just continues to grow by the day.
I don't think it's ever going to stop. The vehicle's never going to stop because it keeps
Oh,
making
I
so
keep
much
saying
money.
they're gonna run out of heroes. There's gonna be a time where they run out of Marvel characters.
We're getting close to it. We're getting a movie.
Corey's really excited for the Blue Marvel
Young Avengers.
TV show.
Blue. It's gonna happen at some point.
There's one fucking Blue Marvel book ever.
It's gonna happen. I'm telling you, man.
I know it is. That's the thing.
They were pushing him way too hard in comics, like in the team books. It's like when like Blade showed up in the Avengers book. I'm like, Blade's gonna get a movie. Well, Echo started getting pushed hard in the fucking Marvel comics. She got a TV show. I think there's at some point there's some corporate like writing synergy that's happening.
Yeah.
That like there's like I wonder like how far back they like the writers at Marvel knew that's like, yo, start putting Blade in your book again. Because there was no fucking reason for why Blade showed up in the Avengers book. It makes literally zero sense. He hunts vampires.
He was also in that oh my god, what was it called? Marvel Alliance game. Remember that game for a while?
That game was fucking the best. That game was fucking Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
That game was the fucking
He was my favorite character. Him and Ghost Rider.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That the MCU really did dirty until recently. Shout out to
I like Ghost Rider and Shield, but I don't think they're gonna bring back that actor.
Yeah,
he was good. He was
when are we getting? Judging by the amount of comic books for this character, when are we getting Black Cat in the MCU?
Whenever Sony does, she's a Spider-Man character.
Oh, that's right. She is technically a Spider-Man character.
So whenever Sony decides to do that, but I'm just gonna be I feel like she's gonna pop up. I wonder if Gwen Stacy's ever gonna pop up in the live action movies. Because I think he kind of dropped the ball now because Haley Steinfeld can't play two MCU characters at the same time. But I figure that we're going to see.
I think you can do voice acting. I think that's fine. I think that doesn't.
No, I meant like her playing Gwen Stacy.
Being actually
just be Gwen Stacy.
We need a blonde. We need a real blonde.
She can wear a fucking. She can dye her hair, whatever. We already changed the race of too many people.
Only white people for white roles.
Only
Corey.
white. Yeah, there's like this weird crusade that apparently a lot of like a lot of redheaded characters keep getting replaced by like black characters. Like they keep like making the characters different if they were redheaded.
Besides Mary Jane, who else?
Wally West.
Okay, fine. Mary Jane isn't even Mary Jane. They changed her name, so calm down, heads.
It's MJ. It's MJ.
Just calm the fuck down, all right?
Trying to think though, but I mean, basically we do get the heartbreaking, but we knew it was gonna happen. Like Clint and Kate doing the whole breakup situation, which was very sad. Which will make their revival in episode 6 that much better.
I still think it's. I mean, I understand these shows are
expensive.
Massive budgets. They've blown out. I mean, I still just 6 episodes is such. I don't really understand how we're gonna land this plane in 2 episodes. 2 30-minute episodes at that. They're not even an hour long.
I mean, like, think about Marvel though, is they never really land the plane. It always just kind of skirts the bottom.
Yeah,
but the stories never
but,
ends.
But if we're right, which I think we kind of have to be, just especially also this has very 2 days from retirement vibes. The whole show. This is the end. We have an hour left of Jeremy Renner in the MCU.
And maybe we're wrong. Maybe it'll be like Hawkeye season 2, baby, or some shit. I don't fucking know. Like, who knows? Maybe we're gonna be wrong.
Jeremy Renner does not seem like the type to stick around with a character after he's done. I mean, he's not like he doesn't really do a lot of sequels and stuff. I mean, I know he tried to take the mantle of the Bourne series, and people hated it. I like that Bourne movie, but that's
That movie, it was a fine movie. I don't understand why people were so mad at him. I thought he was gonna take over Mission Impossible, honestly.
I think that was the plan. And then Tom Cruise was like, "No, I'm ageless."
He's like, I'm not gonna listen. I'm gonna die on set, and that's fucking it.
They put him on the cover of Ghost Protocol. They were like, "All right, Tom."
Is he gonna? I really thought
retire.
This was a switchover. Even in
Yeah.
the trailer, it's like this guy's as good as you are, and then they did that same thing again with Henry Cavill, where this guy's as good as you are, but then he's evil.
They missed their chance to make Ving Rhames the next Ethan Hunt. That's what they should.
God, I would love him just like shuffling around, just trying to fucking do any of this.
Has Ving
Takes,
Rhames ever run in a Mission Impossible movie?
They did make him run once, and it took forever. He's too old now. He's just too old now.
He's not that. How old is Ving Rhames? Ving Rhames is 62. I mean, he could run. He could run.
He didn't look like he could run in the last Mission Impossible. He did not look like he could move very fast in the last Mission Impossible.
Poor Ving Rhames, just catching strays on a podcast that's like, not
Whoa,
even closely
hey, come
related
on,
to-
man. I like Ving Rhames. When's he gonna be in the MCU? He's gonna play Blue Marble.
Just make him Wilson Fisk.
Rest in peace, Michael Clark.
Yeah. Oh man.
Vincent
Anything else to say
Dunn.
about these 2 episodes of Hawkeye before we?
I'm excited to finally. I'm excited, but also surprised that we finally got Yelena in the show. To the point,
I
like,
genuinely, I think I texted you while it was happening. I was like, "That's the mother," and then I literally had forgotten she was a character. And then she took her mask. I was like, "Okay, obviously, that's not Vera Farmiga fucking jumping around, kicking everybody. What a dumb idea, Che."
that would have been awesome. They'd be like, "Yeah, that's definitely the same person."
that's why I was like, "This is like." Jill was like, "Oh, she's way shorter than Vera Farmiga too." And I was like, "It's got to be the mother." And then I was like, "Oh, obviously not."
This is why like full masked superheroes are the best one for movies because you just can't fucking tell, man.
Yeah.
And that's why fucking Daredevil works so fucking well.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, it's way easier for stunt doubles and also way easier for the actors. A la our boy Brendan Fraser, who is never on set at Doom Patrol.
Respect Brendan. Dude, that
Brendan
shit for
Fraser
me
and
alone.
oh my god, what's his name? Matt.
Matthew Balmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never on set. They just
It's
come into
funny.
the booth, do some ADR, and go home.
Those are the two names that actually drew me to Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, but I don't think I have anything else to say about Hawkeye. We're probably going to talk about the next episode, and we're going to be talking about No Way Home in 2 episodes, probably.
God, I gotta buy my No Way Home tickets.
Yes, you do. You do a comic book podcast, Jay.
I know. I just hate opening weekend movie theaters.
Hey, listen. People come to us for their opinions and their news, so
Yeah,
you
we
need to
could
get
talk
on
about
it.
Succession instead. Why don't you catch up on Succession? I have some hot takes.
Does anyone in Succession wear a superhero costume?
No, but one of them did
All right, I'm
actually
out.
send a dick pic to his dad.
All right, I've been Corey.
I've been Che. We'll see you guys next time.
I'm not going to say anything else. I'm done. I quit.
Say bye to the listeners, Corey.
Bye. I quit. It's my last episode.